Remember, look here.
I'm literally looking at this. Right. Now I'm looking at myself.
This is our first video. I'm kind of
nervous. Lighting though?
Ready? What's up, everybody? I'm Nahal.
I'm Nav.
And we are the Moanis. We've been married for about 10 months now, and throughout our journey, we have shared our marriage, our newlywed life on social media. And a lot of you have questions.
So we're gonna do a quick question and answers because you guys left questions in Nahal's comments about us.
Let's get into it. Okay, the first question we got asked is, how did you guys meet?
You want me to start?
I think we have two very different perspectives of what happened, so yeah, sure, go ahead.
I was applying for a job in California. I got the interview and I flew to California for a day, basically. I was bored in my hotel room, so I opened up Hinge, changed my location, started swiping for fun. And 2 weeks later, I got the job offer. I opened up Hinge and I was like, I got so many matches. Let me see what's up with them. And I clicked on Nahal's name and she liked one of my pictures. Well, obviously I liked her picture, I liked her picture and then she liked my picture or something like that.
Okay, I'll give you my perspective now. I was getting out of a toxic situationship, and during this time I was like, okay, dating apps are now a thing. I've never been on one before, but let me see if there's a cute guy I can match with. I'm not looking for anything serious. And so I remember matching with Nav, and he was moving, like he said, from Jersey to California for a job, and I knew he was probably also swiping around and stuff. He was my first match, and the first thing I remember seeing is like a shirtless photo of him, and I was like, abs. This man has abs. So I liked the photo because, again, not looking for anything serious. So then he matched, and I remember him being like, hey, do you want to hang out and stuff? So I called my best friend being like, hey, I matched with this guy on Hinge. He's pretty cute. I'm not looking for anything serious. Should I go hang out with him? And she goes, and this is my best friend Nisha, and I remember this forever. She goes, you're not gonna marry the dude. And I was like, yeah, you're right, I'm not gonna marry the dude.
But also, we spoke for like 2 weeks before we actually hung out because I was in Jersey still, and then I had to fly and move to California. And for people asking, she did not pick me up from the airport because my parents think I was doing that. Which would be smart though, because then I wouldn't have to pay for an Uber. And I didn't move to California for her. Let me be very clear about this.
Are you sure? You moved for me.
I'm sorry, but I would never move for a girl that I haven't met. Like,
yeah, I know. We hadn't met. What was your first impression when you heard me?
Oh, no. So we were texting for like 2 weeks beforehand, and one day I was driving or something, so I was like, call me. Because I might have had a weird encounter a year or two before that where a girl's voice didn't match her vibe. Immediately she's like, hey, what's up? And it was very high-pitched and very,
happy school,
oh my God, how you doing?
Okay, to be fair, I'm from California, and this is how we talk.
Hella. First impression of the voice was like, fine, it's doable, let's see what happens. But then overall, our conversations were so consistent and like easygoing before that, it just made sense to like go on a date or at least like see what's there. So
we go on like our second or third date, and this voice thing, keep that in mind. So we go on this date and we're hanging out at Maggiano's. I remember this because their cheese ravioli slaps. And we're sitting, we're having the best date ever in my mind. And then all of a sudden Nav goes, hey, is there anything that bothers you about me? And I'm like, that's a really weird question. Nobody would ever ask, does something bother you unless something bothers them? So I was like, no, but is there something that bothers you about me? And he goes, yeah, sometimes you talk loudly in restaurants. Second date. So I was like shut down completely. I didn't say a word the rest of the dinner.
No, I'm a straight shooter. If you can't communicate with the other person you're with, don't go out.
I just met you, bro. Okay, but then after the date, after we didn't say anything, you did apologize. And now, what is it, 7 years later? Where are we at with my voice? I think you tell me at least once a week, why are you yelling?
Yeah, she yells. We'll be talking and she'll be like, okay, so like.
I will say though, his family is a family of yellers as well. They have very loud voices, and so I just fit right in.
There's a difference having loud voice and having anger issues. Those are two very different.
Oh yeah, I have loud voices. Okay, next question. What do you guys do and how do you travel so much?
So I work in mobile games and apps. So I make games on your phone. The company I work with is based out of Europe, so I travel a lot to Europe for that.
If you hear in our wedding video, his dad says he works in IT. Clearly that's not true.
I do not work in informational technologies. I was a software engineer and now I work in gaming and apps, and I do growth/operations. So I don't code anymore. I do financials, operational work, and basically make sure businesses are making money.
So I work in content marketing, and so at a very young age I've always been into marketing, and my dad kind of prompted me to do it, and I found the world of content creation. So I started doing it for tech companies because that's where the money is at. And then from there I did a little bit of consulting and found my passion in creation for my own self. And so when I think about my own self, I do lifestyle, I do entertainment, and now we have like our married life and newlywed content and stuff. I always wanted to become a family channel or a couples channel, so I'm kind of able to do this through this.
I was the first content person out of us two.
He actually
fitness IG.
He used to have a fitness IG. Remember the shirtless photo? And as for traveling, we travel through his work. I've gotten some brand partnerships. I want to continue expanding my channels, and the best way to do that is see the world. Next question.
Have you almost broken up?
Have we almost broken up? Spicy.
We've never technically broken up.
Technically, we haven't broken up, but we were close. Very, very
Because
close.
I have a rule.
Yeah.
Once you break up, you're done. There's no this whole like
Yeah.
bullshit going back together. That whole toxic relationship that people do, waste of time, waste of energy. I'm not dealing with that.
To be fair, it was either we're gonna break up and then that's it forever, or we're gonna get married. I don't mind going into it a little bit.
I mean, why don't you just say the elephant in the room of we've only really had like 2 real arguments in 6 years.
And they've all been around the same thing. Elephant in the room, living with his parents. People don't know, but I actually live with Nav's parents, and it's been a very long journey to get here. When you meet a guy and stuff and he says, hey, my parents are a little traditional, they want to do the whole joint family situation and living with in-laws, in my mind, I'm like, 1, I could change his mind, and 2, I don't even know if we're gonna end up together. So when it came down to 4 or 5 years, we're thinking about engagement, and this was the next step of, hey, are you moving to Jersey? Are you moving into my parents' home? Freak out, absolute freak out. I was like, I don't think I can do this, and I don't know if this is meant to be.
Big thing was giving her the assurance that, hey, if anything were to happen, we'll tackle this as a team, and that's the big thing. It's always try to make it work no matter what, meaning like if it's an environment that's so toxic for us and it's so bad, because we've heard horror stories from other people where they can't do this, you know, we'll have a discussion, and I assured her that I would have her back and have our best interest in mind. And then 2 was just letting her get to that conclusion by herself. One of Nail's best characteristics and potentially
Worst?
one that could be improved
I like that.
is that she has to get there by herself, and that's something that I learned over time. So it was like, listen, we're gonna do this, here's why we're gonna do it, it's gonna be good, but worst case scenario, you'll be assured that, you know, I got your back, I got our back. Now go spiral as much as you want and get to the end conclusion. And we had a lot of help from a few people, like your sister and even your dad technically too, helped a lot.
Even best friends. You know, it's this grass is greener on the other side. But I think before that, we have to backtrack a little bit. The next question was, why did you say that you have to live with in-laws? Or always people are like, but why does he want to live with his parents? Or why? The answer, the big question is why.
Oh, ooh, that's a good one.
That's a good one, and I think I'm gonna get some answers in today's episode too.
One, I grew up in a joint family actually. That lasted like 12 years or so. It's something my parents really wanted because they felt that that's how you build a very happy family, when you have like support and help. And parents are more old school, and it was a topic that we would always discuss growing up. And my dad always had this dream of like, hey, we're gonna have everyone together, and you know, this like olden age.
Hum sat sat vibes.
Whatever that means.
From my perspective, again, it's a lot to take in. I'm not only moving cross country, but I'm also moving into somebody's home. And again, like we keep saying, we had that almost moment of breakup where it was like, we're either gonna go through with this or we're gonna break up completely. And that night we had a 6 to 8 hour long conversation of every single hypothetical situation possible. Every. From like, what happens if I get pregnant, or what happens if my parents get ill, or all of these things and anxiety thoughts that are going. But the biggest thing that we learned was, yes, his family's traditional, but the only thing he wanted was for me to try it. This is happening in my house, and this is the way that my parents think. Instead of going up against them on something that we haven't even tried, why create a rift between us and his family? So the goal was, you try it out for a year, we reassess what's best for our relationship, and it's been what, 8 months since I moved into the house, and honestly, I love it. His family is not like any other family we've had before, or not had before. No.
Have you told your parents this?
No. His family is unlike a lot of the in-law horror stories that I've heard, and people are like, oh, you're in the honeymoon period. Maybe I am, and I'm okay with it. I think it's just a mutual respect with everybody in the house.
Yeah, a lot of prepping too. I would prep my parents on like what to expect, because Nahal has a very different personality than a lot of us growing up. She has more friends, more events, this whole content stuff, which no one is used to. So it's also prepping and getting people used to it. For like 2 years, I kind of like planned that.
Yeah, my parents gave me the best advice ever. They're like, just be your authentic version of yourself. And I'm this like very touchy, lovey human being. Like, I really love people, and I wanted to bring that into this family. So I've just been doing that, and I think they've been caught like taken aback a little bit. I remember hugging your dad for the first time in the morning, and he's like, hey. Yeah, like, I don't know you like that. But I think it's a learning experience. The next question we got asked is like, how long do you plan on doing this? And again, there's no timeline to it. It's gonna be a year next year, and I think right now I'm chilling where I'm at. The house has a lot of space. I feel like we have boundaries, we have personal space. We also, like Nav mentioned, we travel a lot, so we're already gone 3-4 months out of the year next year, so why pay for rent if everything's good here? But we don't know what the future holds.
So I mean, there's a few reasons why maybe this, well, you know, things that could happen is obviously like changes in the family, right? Her parents are cross country. Job situations could change where, you know, you have to be a place in person. Maybe we're just like, you know what, we don't have enough space and personal time and quality time now, and we need to find something out. But all those will be like assessed as we go, and you know, we try to do our best. That's the big thing, is that we try to make time for each other. We communicate well, where if we feel like we don't have any personal time or quality time, we make an effort.
And the biggest thing is people say like, am I missing out on the city life or like living in a big city or something like that? I've done that in my 20s. We're 30 and I feel like I don't want to live in a giant city like New York anymore. Do I love being 30 minutes away? Absolutely, because I go in for my events or we go in for our date nights and explore, but I like my little suburban bubble. And so whatever people say about joint family, it's different from situation to situation, but we are doing it. You guys are hearing it live from us. And so right now, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. Next question. On the topic of quality time, we got asked, how do you find quality time living with in-laws?
Communication.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing is communication, right? And I feel like that's something that is not pushed upon more, because also in Indian families, it's very like bad to like communicate with your parents and in-laws or whatnot. It's like, we just are very open about it between ourselves and the people in our house. So if she feels like, hey, maybe you're working too much and we haven't had some quality time, she'll tell me, hey, I feel distant, and that's my green light to say, great, we gotta plan a date, we gotta have this conversation. We're very transparent with like my parents and people, like we're doing a date night right now, so we're gonna go and either go outside to eat or we're gonna be at home, or what we want.
We just need alone.
Yeah,
alone.
We just want to be alone.
And that was a little awkward at the beginning, I will say. I think that the parents are not used to alone time. There's this notion in joint family that everybody does everything together. And this family wasn't like this, but there were times where I just don't think they understood. I think the hardest being like, we don't want to leave outside our home to do date night. We should be doing date night in our home. And sometimes we just want to be in our room and hanging out and stuff. But it's Nav's job to communicate with his family, and how he handles that, honestly, is none of my business.
Really, at this point, it's my parents, right? It's my family. So it's about boundaries. The communication is the biggest thing, honestly. And we're trying to do this thing where we do a date night a week, basically, which has been, we've been pretty on point with it, honestly. Unless
Very
we have
on
like
point.
a big event or something like that. We find our hobbies is the big thing. I think that's the big thing. We find hobbies that let us spend time, whether it's playing cards, going to a workout class.
Yeah, and going to the city, my sister's also there, which has been a huge benefit. I think my sister moving to New York has made me feel like I actually have some family here. And also his own siblings, like they have played such a big role in our relationships, and just having more people around. He has 3 siblings with significant others, so we always have someone to hang out with. The next question we have is the biggest challenge we have navigating newlywed life. So for me, I think it's definitely finding an emotional connection at times, because just because you live with somebody and you're married to them, I can still sometimes feel a disconnect in our relationship if we're not actively, like I said, spending quality time, not only away from the family, but away from doing our day-to-day. Like sometimes for me, just watching TV at night is not enough, because that's a part of our routine. So it's like, how do we do things to break the everyday habits to feel emotionally connected? Because if I don't feel emotionally connected with us, that's when I start to spiral.
And it's also planning and having set plans that keep you guys eager and like excited, right? Like we always have plans coming up, but that's always like, for her at least, that makes her feel like there's something. I personally, it's fine for me, but like having set plans every whatever that to look towards is very it's exciting. It keeps you guys going, because it's like, oh, this trip's gonna be fun, or this is gonna be really good. And
that was also part of the living with in-laws thing. I needed a trip in the books always to see my friends and family, because again, I'm living all the way here, and sometimes I feel disconnected again from them. So connection is a really big thing for us. So the next question is your favorite part about being married. So Nav and I actually didn't live together before marriage, and because of that, I think waking up next to your person is so exciting. I wake up every day, I'm like, I get to hang out with you and I get to spend time with you. And I know you feel the same way. And a little part of me, I always kind of resented your, like, just the way that things were, because I wanted to live together when we were engaged and together, and I was kind of upset that we didn't get to. But everybody, like, life has a funny way of working out and stuff, and I'm kind of glad that we saved this portion, because it's something new we get to do every day, because nowadays everybody does everything before marriage.
Yeah, it's just having like your buddy, your partner, your best friend to like do stupid shit with, or just, like, who's always, and they have to like deal with it, right? Like I can be like super hyped about something, and she has to listen to me and has to hear me.
If I hear about Drake one more time,
God's gift to earth, you know, like which is, one is good, 2 is also like, I mean, I hope you married your best friend or a person you get along with, where like a lot of our interests align. Like we like to try new things, we like to do stuff. So it's just the excitement of like what's to come, and having a partner in crime at all times. Because
people also think that like our lifestyles are different, or they are not the same. But what people don't know about me is I'm actually such a homebody, and while I love going to these events and I love seeing my friends, it's for 2 or 3 days, and I don't talk to a single person for like a week. And Nav is just like that. And so our favorite thing to do, aside from these activities, few activities here and there, is we love just staying at home, ordering in, and watching a good TV show or movie in our home theater. Last question of this Q&A.
Oh God. I think this is why she's not a singer.
I'm a singer.
Never do that again.
Okay.
How do we handle arguments or like a disagreement?
We don't
That's
fight.
always right. I mean, what do you
We
say?
don't fight though.
Yeah, I think we fought 3 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago when we almost broke up.
I don't really argue or fight, honestly, because one, we have pretty good communication. Like, sure, we go through moments where it's like, just leave me alone, sure. But within an hour or so, we're always very vocal. We're both also very aware of things where, like, if we did something that pisses them off, we're just like, all right, cool, we just won't do it again. Like,
we always talk and get to the root of the problem and stuff. And sometimes there's solutions and sometimes we just want to vent. And I think asking the person that ahead of time, ask them.
I learned that the hard way.
Yeah, are you venting or do I need a solution? Because sometimes he gives me a solution when I absolutely just wanted to talk shit. There you have it, our first Q&A ever. We're super excited to share our married life, newlywed life, living with in-laws, travel adventures, and so much more. So keep following us and press the subscribe button for more. This is Nav, and I'm...
Nahil?
Yeah.
Wow.
Why'd you ask the question mark?
Because you were like...
Bye, guys.